Dorothy from Milwaukee just calculated that she could save over $1,300 on her taxes next year, simply because she turned 65 last month. Meanwhile, her neighbor Frank, who's been retired for 3 years, is wondering if he's been missing out on money he should have received all along. Across America, millions of seniors are discovering that their age might finally become a financial advantage in ways they never expected. If this information helps you understand what's coming for seniors, please like this video and subscribe to The Golden Money for more updates on financial changes that could directly impact your retirement planning. The numbers being discussed in Washington right now are significant enough to make anyone pause and take notice. We're talking about legislation that could put hundreds, possibly thousands of additional dollars in the pockets of Americans who are 65 and older. But like most things involving politics and taxes, the reality is more complex than the headlines suggest. The source of all this excitement is something called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which is making its way through Congress as we speak. This comprehensive piece of legislation covers everything from tax cuts to energy policy, but buried within its pages is a provision that specifically targets senior citizens with what's being called a senior bonus tax deduction. Let's break down what this actually means in practical terms. Currently, when you're 65 or older, you already get a small additional standard deduction on your taxes. For 2025, that amounts to about $2,000 if you're single and $1,600 per person if you're married. The proposed legislation would add an additional $4,000 deduction for seniors, which would bring the total extra deduction to roughly $6,000 for single filers and even more for married couples. But here's where it gets interesting, and where we need to separate the marketing from the reality. This isn't actually a $6,000 bonus check that shows up in your mailbox. It's a tax deduction, which means it reduces the amount of income you have to pay taxes on. The actual money you save depends on your tax bracket and your overall financial situation. Let me give you a real-world example to illustrate this. Meet Helen, a 67-year-old widow from Arizona who receives $2,400 per month in Social Security and has a small pension that brings her total annual income to about $40,000. Under the current system, Helen gets the standard deduction plus the existing senior bonus, which means she pays very little in federal income taxes already. With the proposed additional $4,000 deduction, Helen might save an additional $440 per year in taxes, assuming she's in the 11% tax bracket. Now consider James and Patricia, a married couple both over 65, living in Florida. They have retirement accounts, Social Security, and some part-time work income that puts their total household income at about $85,000 per year. For them, the additional deduction could mean savings of $880 per year or more, depending on their specific situation. The key detail that many people are missing is that this deduction phases out for higher income earners. Single filers earning more than $75,000 and married couples earning more than $150,000 would see the benefit gradually disappear. This means the benefit is specifically targeted at low to moderate income seniors, not wealthier retirees. There's also the question of timing and permanence. The temporary senior deduction would be in place for tax years 2025 through 2028. This is a 4-year program, not a permanent change to the tax code. This temporary nature is both a blessing and a concern. It's a blessing because it allows Congress to provide immediate relief without committing to massive long-term spending. It's a concern because seniors might get used to this tax relief only to see it disappear after 2028. The political landscape around this bill is worth understanding as well. The House of Representatives passed its version of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, but both chambers will have to agree on the changes before it goes to Trump to sign. The Senate has proposed a $6,000 bonus deduction, which is higher than the House's $4,000 proposal. This means the final version could fall anywhere in that range. What makes this particularly interesting for seniors is that it represents a shift in how politicians are thinking about tax policy for older Americans. For years, the focus has been on protecting Social Security and Medicare. Now we're seeing targeted tax relief that acknowledges the financial pressures many seniors face, especially after years of inflation affecting everything from groceries to healthcare. The story behind this legislation is also worth noting. During the 2024 campaign, there was discussion about eliminating taxes on Social Security benefits entirely. However, that proposal was estimated to cost the government hundreds of billions of dollars over 10 years. The senior bonus deduction, appears to be a compromise solution that provides meaningful relief without the massive fiscal impact. For seniors trying to plan their finances, this creates both opportunities and challenges. The opportunity is obvious: potential tax savings that could make a real difference in monthly budgets. The challenge is the uncertainty. Until this bill is signed into law, none of these benefits are guaranteed. There's also the broader question of what this means for retirement planning. Many financial advisors recommend that retirees plan for tax rates to potentially increase over time. A temporary tax benefit like this could provide a window of opportunity for certain financial strategies, such as Roth conversions or adjusting withdrawal strategies from retirement accounts. The real-world impact of this legislation, if it passes, will vary dramatically depending on individual circumstances. For seniors who are already paying little or no federal income tax, the benefit might be minimal. For those who are in higher tax brackets but still within the income limits, the savings could be substantial. It's also worth considering what this means for tax preparation. The deduction would be available whether seniors take the standard deduction or itemize their returns. This flexibility is important because it means seniors won't have to change their filing strategies to take advantage of the benefit. The timing of this potential legislation is particularly relevant given the broader economic challenges many seniors face. Healthcare costs continue to rise faster than inflation. Housing costs have increased dramatically in many areas, and the purchasing power of fixed incomes has been eroded by several years of higher prices. As we look at this proposal, it's important to remember that tax policy is often more about politics than economics. The senior bonus deduction polls well with voters. It's relatively affordable compared to other tax cuts, and it targets a demographic that votes consistently. Whether it becomes law will depend as much on political calculations as on fiscal considerations. For seniors watching this debate unfold, the key is to stay informed, but not to make major financial decisions based on proposed legislation. Tax laws change frequently, and what seems certain in June might look very different by December. The question in our title asks whether this is too good to be true. The answer is nuanced. It's not too good to be true in the sense that it's a real proposal with real political support. It's not a scam or a misleading promise. However, it's also not the financial windfall that some headlines might suggest. It's a targeted tax benefit that could provide meaningful relief to middle-class seniors, but it's temporary, limited in scope, and subject to the usual uncertainties of the legislative process. The most important thing for seniors to understand is that this potential benefit fits into a larger conversation about how America supports its aging population. Whether through tax policy, healthcare reform, or social security adjustments, the needs of seniors are increasingly driving political discussions. This senior bonus deduction, whether it becomes law or not, represents a recognition that older Americans face unique financial challenges that deserve targeted attention.